Are we good, public access? Thank you. All right, welcome to the June 13th, 2024 Infrastructure and Facilities meeting. Time being 5:15 and a quorum of members present, I'll call the meeting to order. And we will move on to agenda item number 1, which is the consent agenda. I did have a request to have item B pulled to discuss later. So we will be taking items A, C, and D on the consent agenda. Motion by Alder Neal, second by Alder Mertens. Any comments, discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None opposed, that passes 4-0. So we'll move on to consent agenda item 1B, action on stormwater maintenance agreement with Robert W. Monk Gardens at 1800 North First Avenue. Alder Larson.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Yes, Mr. Chair. I requested this to be, I thought maybe we should discuss it and even possibly table this issue with all the drama that's been going on with the community over this. And even though I've read some positive things over the last couple of days, I think that entering into an agreement with Monk Gardens at this time would not be appropriate. I think we should possibly wait till maybe somebody from the board or the family or both are here. I just don't want to get the city involved into a mess that we don't really need to be in. I think this should be tabled until the dust settles, so to speak.
Okay, thank you. Alder Neal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I agree. The parking lot area, the plan that had been floated for that has run into a considerable pushback from neighbors and lovers of the gardens and whatnot. There's significant incursion into the footprint of the existing park that would result in, I think, the loss of some vegetation and trees and stuff. So that was controversial. I don't know if us approving, our end of it here means it's giving it some kind of a stamp of approval to move ahead. That's probably not the case. I mean, we can give our approval and they could still change their plan, but it might be good to have some kind of input from stakeholders on this.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep. Alder Mertens.
Yeah, I guess I have a question about this. Does our approval of the stormwater maintenance agreement, does that have any effect or implication on the construction of their parking lot? Can they proceed without the agreement, or?
I guess I'll turn to TJ.
Technically, I do believe they could move ahead with the construction, but this is more for post-construction best management practices to build the ponds and the storm sewer. This is just an agreement stating that they will maintain those per the plans and how they are going to be constructed. So I don't know that holding up this agreement is the correct avenue to either slow or stop the construction. This is more just to make sure that they maintain the construction of their stormwater management practices the way they claim in their report.
And I guess as a follow-up to that, so because this is a management plan, is this plan dependent upon a fixed idea of what their, say, retention pond is going to be? If there's a substantial change to the design of their parking area, are we going to have to renegotiate the plan, or can this maintenance agreement continue as is?
So we've had amendments during construction, and it really doesn't affect the authority of the management plan. The management plan is just to make sure that they adhere to what their stormwater management plan is. And right now, their plan, which is required by our municipal code, is to remove 80% TSS, total suspended solids, and to limit the volume discharge. And that's all this agreement is to make sure that they follow those regulations.
Okay, so it's not, so if there's a substantial change to the parking area, they can, the plan can be amended, but a plan is necessary for them ultimately, and, they have to adhere to our municipal code for stormwater retention.
Correct.
So, okay, thank you.
I also read that this project might be getting delayed. I don't know if anyone's reached out to you yet, or have you heard anything?
I have not.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yep. Alder Larson.
I'll make a motion that we table this item until we hear from the stakeholders in this.
Okay. So I have a motion to table this item until we hear more detail from the stakeholders.
I'll second, just because I don't think this is probably a real pressing issue and time sensitive, since it is probably kind of floating up in the air, so it wouldn't hurt just to hear more.
Yep. And I got a second from Alder Neal. Any more discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
Okay, that passes 3-1. We'll move on to agenda item number 2, public hearing, public hearing vacating and discontinuing a portion of right-of-way south of Adams Street abutting 1010 and 1012 Eversville Boulevard and 1100 Highland Park Boulevard, that portion known as North 11th Street on Plat HB Huntington's addition to the City of Wausau, document number 167682. So the public hearing is now open. Anyone here for public input on during the public hearing? Approach the mic. State your name and address and
Sure. Hi, I'm Mark Delenchek. I live on 1012 Everest Boulevard, one of the properties involved. And we've lived there for 18 years. And what at one time was envisioned as 11th Street, but never materializing, actually bisects our property. We live east and west of that easement. The good doctor behind me, his property, the old Lee Yawkey property, has the rest of it. And we were fine with that. A few years ago, we briefly had a neighbor that was trying to kind of make an issue of that piece, and she's actually since moved. But we just thought it'd be wise to put that to rest, and we would ask you to cede that property to Dr. Aschenbrenner and myself.
okay.
That's all I got.
Is that thank you.
Okay.
So I'll comment as well. My name is Matthew Ashburner. I live at 1100 Highland Park Boulevard. During the kind of controversy a couple of years ago, there was an easement that was made to us. And the easement is fine. It's just that I think the vacation just kind of eliminates then all confusion as to ownership of the property. The hard part is that right now the city owns it, but it's clearly for the last at least 20 to 30 years been managed by both Mark and myself. And so it's just one of those random things in downtown Wausau where it is, if you were to go to the area, you would not expect it to be anything but the property owners. There's a structure that we had put on it a number of years ago. It's fully landscaped, and it's essentially just part of our yards. So it's just, I guess, a situation to finalize that it just be vacated so that therefore the ownership go to the people who it adjusts to. So thanks.
Thank you. Okay. For the second time, anyone here for the public hearing, vacating and discontinuing this parcel? And we'll do it one more time for the third time. Anyone here to speak on vacating or discontinuing this parcel? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed. And we'll move on to item number 3. I'm not going to read it all because that was a mouthful, but discussion and possible action on vacating and discontinuing a portion of the right-of-way south of Adams Street abutting 101010 and 1012 Everest Boulevard. Any comments? Alder Neal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would make a motion to accept the request for vacating the described property.
All right, I have a motion to vacate said property in agenda item number 3.
I'll second it.
Second by Alder Neal, or motion by Alder Neal, second by Alder Larson.
May I
Yes.
just say something? Okay.
Did I do that right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, the first gentleman who spoke said something to the effect of ceding the property to him and Dr. Aschenbrenner. And I did speak with the city surveyor. And as far as reversion of title for highway or street, it may not revert to both of them. It may just all revert to Dr. Aschenbrenner. The surveyor had pulled up the old plats, and the one plat is from 1915, and that is when the west lot was platted, and that 11th Street parcel looks like at the time of that platting belonged to the parcel to the east, I guess it was. Then in 1925, the other parcel was platted, and what the statute indicates is if the highway or public ground is located between the lands of different owners, it shall be annexed to the lots to which it originally belonged, if that can be ascertained. So, I mean, this isn't a guarantee, but that's kind of how the surveyor and I were looking at it, is that it may not be part yours, it may be all Dr. Aschenbrenner's. I mean, if there's a dispute over how the application of this statute would go, that would really be up to you both to kind of figure it out. Okay, I just wanted to point that out, so. Just so you know, and then that the city will maintain an easement for the storm sewer that is there. So we're always going to maintain a right of access and to go in there and to take care of the sanitary sewer line. So I just wanted to make that clear. You know, it's not just vacant property that disappears, you know, forever from the city's radar.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? None are opposed, so that passes 4-0. We'll move on to agenda item number 4, discussion and possible action on state municipal agreement for transportation alternatives program, TAP projects. 72nd Avenue Trail South Extension, Sunnyvale Park to Stewart Avenue. TJ.
All right, so this is an extension of the newly constructed trail that was constructed from Stewart Avenue north up to International Drive. This would extend south from Stewart Avenue down to Sunnyvale Park. So this section of trail was actually included in that original project. This all would have been constructed as the 72nd Avenue Trail from Packerland Drive or Sunnyvale Park up to International. But, you know, this went through the process during COVID and the inflation, so prices came in at way over budget. So when we bid it the first time, we looked for ways to save money, and cutting this portion of the trail out was one of the items that we decided to go with. So this portion of the project is actually already designed, which is fortunate for us because about 2 months ago, the DOT called us up and said, we have additional funding in this transportation alternatives program that can be used, but it has to be used within fiscal year '24. And for the federal funds that would be used for, that's the end of September. So we have a very tight timeline to get this project under contract, and very few projects meet those guidelines for the DOT. So they were really looking for some projects that would meet those guidelines. And, a typical DOT project takes, more than 2 years to design and get out to bid, just because of all the requirements for going through DOT projects. So we are actually working on right now to package that project up, because we have to submit it to the DOT by July 1st for them to go through it and give their final blessing. So again, this program is very beneficial. It's a 80-20 match, which is 80% the DOT would pay, and then the other 20% would be the city. So I mentioned a little bit on the schedule. So we have to submit by July 1st the plans to the DOT, and then we would expect approval about a month later, and we would have to bid that out then by early August, because the contracts would have to be signed and executed prior to the start of the new fiscal year. But this project would not be constructed until '25. So, our portion of this project would be $230,639. We did put some contingency in, so hopefully we won't have to expel that much money, but that is what our obligation would be if we use the total amount. Any questions?
I guess I have one. This would complete everything at the business district, or out there, as far as bike trails, correct?
Well, we do have a master plan that has many more trails woven throughout. We do have another trail that is currently being designed. It's our east-west connector. That goes from 72nd Avenue, I'm trying to...
All the way out to O?
Not all the way out to O, but that's the next portion, out to 84th.
84.
Yeah, it's on the northern section, just north of, maybe 500 feet south of International. And then it just cuts back country out to 84th, and then the next portion would be from 84th out to O.
Okay.
But again, we do have a proposed subdivision that's going to be connecting to 72nd Avenue, so those residents would have a direct, walkable and bikeable link down to the park. I think it'd be a great benefit to the city.
Okay. Alder Martins?
I guess, yeah, I'll comment on a question. So, excuse me, you said the city's got a 20% match. You think that'll be covered by contingency? Any balance, what does that come out of the TID then, or?
Yes, this project is expected to be funded by the TID, and then
Okay.
if we do go over that, it's a 100% on the city.
Okay, and then, yeah, that sounds good to me. I really do like this, being able to extend that route, that bike and pedestrian route down to Sunnyvale Park. I think that'll be a great asset to the entire network of paths that are running through the business campus, so I'd support that.
And just quick,
Yeah,
sorry.
We'll let Alder Larson go first.
I would support this too, because not only that, because the existing trail is already there, but I think with that intersection with the interstate and the on-off ramps and stuff, I think it would enhance the safety of pedestrians also. So I will be supporting it as well.
Go ahead, TJ.
So when we originally bid this project, it came in around $550,000 for that, this portion, and right now we have around $950,000 for budget. So we do have plenty of contingency,
Okay.
hopefully.
Alder Neal?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I guess before we consider voting on this, and the mayor is here with us this evening, I would ask him to step up and sort of chime in on his feelings about committing to, $215,000 to $230,000 for this.
Sure. If he's willing.
some grants are better than other grants. And this appears to be a grant, if it's an 80-20 split, would be worthwhile taking advantage of that. If it's a shovel-ready project, if it connects and it provides what our industrial park is looking for, I think it's one worthy of applying for and taking advantage of.
Thank you.
I don't think we've had a motion. I would
No.
make a motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion to approve the TAP project from Alder Neal.
I'll let Alder.
Okay.
I'll let Alder Martins.
Second by
this
Alder
one.
Martins. Any more discussion? All those in favor can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None are opposed. That passes 4-0. Where are we? Agenda item number 5, discussion and possible action on parking restrictions on Norton Street, east of North First Avenue. And this looks like it's Allen's.
Yes, I was contacted by the facilities of UMR about possibly putting no parking in front of where their sprinkler system hookup is. You can see it in the picture there, that red valve in the back. They met with the fire department. Fire department felt it was a good idea. So we post a parking in there about basically one car stall, but no parking in front of that sprinkler system hookup, so the fire department wouldn't have to go through a car if they wanted to hook up their sprinkler system.
Any discussion? Comments? Motions? All right, Alder Neal.
Motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion from Alder Neal to approve.
I'll second.
I have a second from Alder Larson. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? None are opposed. That passes 4-0. Discussion and possible action on parking restrictions on Statine Drive from Stewart Avenue to 44th Avenue. And this one is Allen again.
Sure, this one's a little bit more involved. If you look at the map included, right now on Statine Drive, you obviously have the businesses and some residents on the west side, and on the east side is the park. The park is highly used, with JoJo's Jungle and the softball and baseball that goes on out there, and then soccer. So there's been some parking issues out there. When we visited this, if you look at the map, there's currently no parking restrictions posted on the east and west side towards Stewart Avenue. And that's labeled as currently posted, no parking on your map. However, that's not in an ordinance. So even though it's posted, it's not in an ordinance. And there was also a request from Alder Tierney about posting no parking on the west side. So basically what we'd be asking for is no parking on the entire west side from 44th to Stewart, and then to codify that section on the east side that's currently marked. And I guess why that is, people are parking on both sides of the road of Statine Drive during certain events and during busy periods. And, people, if they're exiting their vehicle and crossing Statine Drive to get across with kids or whatever, and it also gets tight, people cannot see, so they're worried about a safety concern. So that's the request, to mark it no parking as shown on the map.
Thank you. I see Alder Tierney's here. Would you like to come up and say something?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I did put this through, asking for the approval to put those no parking signs. It is a safety hazard because that park is widely used even when there's not events going on, and there are a lot of families that are using that. We want one side of that no parking, because when you do have parking on both sides, it also makes Statine Drive very narrow. And even though it's posted 25, people don't go 25. It's a very busy road. People also like to walk in that area. A good part of it is because of the park-like atmosphere there. So as a safety issue, we are asking that one side of the street does have that no parking all the way to 44th as a safety issue, both for those driving and not to have parking on both sides because of those that are crossing over. A lot of kids during those big event times when the parking in the lot is full. So, thank you.
Thank you. Alder Larson?
I have a question for Alder Tierney.
Yes.
How does, and I drive this street, and I can see where it could be a safety hazard with children running out and stuff and trying to squeeze traffic. But my question is how do the neighbors feel about,
I actually was contacted by neighbors in that area to ask for the no parking. So, and that's why I did approach and ask for the no parking, because I was contacted by my constituents in that area. Actually, there is one here today to talk as well.
okay, because I see actually, I see that road running north so you're looking for no parking on the west side or the south side?
Right, the side opposite
Yeah.
of the
Okay,
park.
because I go down there, I see a lot of houses there, but their driveways are big enough too, so they wouldn't be losing and parking.
No, and as I did include pictures, and you'll see there is very little room on the shoulders. There's
Right.
just some granite shoulders, they're small.
Okay, thank you. So I'll make the motion that we pass this.
Okay. No parking on the
Yep,
west or south side of
Yep.
Steen Drive? Okay. I have a motion from,
Excuse me, Chad, and also the section on the east side that's currently posted, no parking from Stewart around that curve, approximately 400 feet.
all right.
That's, I
So-
mean, that either you have to, I would approve it or deny it if that would be part of your motion.
that would be part of my motion to, not only, to make what's already no parking, an ordinance, but to extend what covers the whole agenda item here.
Okay.
All right. So a motion to put no parking on the west side of Steen Drive from 44th all the way to Stewart Avenue, and to codify the current no parking sign.
Yeah, to make that, yeah, right, exactly.
Okay. Second from Alder Neal. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? No one's opposed, so that passes 4-0. Move on to agenda item number 7. I got an email from Alan saying we're not ready for that agenda item yet, and we're going to pull that from the agenda. So we're going to move on to agenda item number 8, discussion and possible action on dedication of right-of-way, acceptance of a utility easement, and acceptance of easement for a temporary cul-de-sac west of Old Coach Road and west of Birchwood Drive, STS Investment LLC. And this is Alan's?
Sure, I guess I can speak to that. I guess the best place to see, there's an overall map, be sheet C 020. The last sheet there kind of shows how this lays out. Bluestone Drive and Old Coach Road, Birchwood Drive and Old Coach Road, kind of dead end right now. So the developer is proposing to extend some sewer and water up there and create 4 lots by a CSM. So those 4 lots would be served by sewer and water that they would extend. So if you look at the CSM, you can see the right-of-way that is proposed to be dedicated for Birchwood Drive and Old Coach Road. That would serve those 4 lots, and it would also serve to extend the sewer and the water. And then if you look at also on that CSM, we're showing there's a utility easement that would go between Birchwood and Old Coach. That's for the sewer and the water. And also because these are not permanent dead ends, there would be some temporary cul-de-sacs built on the end of Birchwood and Old Coach. So it's kind of a combination of some right-of-way being dedicated for these 4 lots, a sewer and water easement, and a temporary cul-de-sacs. I would just say that as part of this too, there's going to have to be a developer's agreement that we're working on right now. That the developer is going to extend the sewer and the water. They're going to build the roads. They're going to contribute all the money to do this. So that'll be coming in a further development agreement. So I think if we approve this, there'll still be another document coming to approve the developer's agreement on who pays for what, which basically the developer is doing all the work. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. We also have Tom Redens here from REI. Their firm is working with STS Investments, and they're drawing up the plat and the CSM and the plans.
All right, Alder Neal.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal.
All right, I have a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
I have a second from Alder Larson. Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor can signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? None, and that passes 4-0. Move on to agenda item number 9. Discussion and possible action on closing of 28th Avenue from Madonna Drive to Marianne Lane. And Alan?
So we had this item on the agenda last month, and it was more to discuss alternatives. It wasn't necessarily agendized to close 28th Avenue. That's why we brought it back this time. You know, the ultimate options, the design options we go through, was to close, one of the options was to close 28th Avenue. Now, whether you do that at Madonna or Maple Creek Drive, I guess that's up for discussions.
Marianne Drive, Marianne Lane.
Well, you can either, right, so at the, I guess I can back up a little bit. At the north end, you would definitely cul-de-sac it at Marianne Lane. But on the south end, you can either send people up Madonna, as the first drawing shows, or you can take it up to Maple Creek. So I guess I'm open to hearing what this committee, kind of wants to move ahead. One of my concerns is Maple Creek gets a little steep, and it's also not a road within the city. So, Madonna may be a better option to close it down there, and then cul-de-sac Maple Creek Drive and Marianne Lane, or 28th at Marianne.
Alder Larson?
I have a question for Alan. Has any surveys or anything been sent out to the residents in the neighborhood?
No,
They would-
we have not done any of that yet. So, no.
I guess, I was the one that brought this up because I go up and down that street as well, it's not, it's just bad. And I hate to see anybody get hurt going down that road. All it would take would be some negligent driver going down that hill when it's night and they lose control and crash into the hill. And we also heard, from the DPW last month exactly how bad this road is. And I as much as I see this road as a safety hazard, I also don't want to act on this until we get feedback from what the people feel in the neighborhood, that the neighbors that use this road, and would they have a problem with closing it and going around and using Westwood Drive and such. So I guess my recommendation would be to table this until we get some neighborhood feedback on this.
Alder Neal?
Thank you. I would make a motion to approve the part of the plan with the south closing at Madonna Drive and the north at Marianne Lane. I mean, that way, we have approved a plan which then can be shared with, the neighbors to say this is what we're proposing to do. But my motion is to do that.
Okay.
I'll go with that. I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion to close to have the street turn on Madonna Drive, and a second from Alder Neal, and a second from Alder Larson. Alan?
Okay, so to further this discussion a little bit, so this is proposed for reconstruction in 2026. So, I mean, we couldn't close it temporarily, but, it'd probably be with some chevrons and just temporary, but, like building a permanent cul-de-sac at Marianne and a permanent cul-de-sac at Maple Creek, and then kind of smoothing that curve out at Madonna, those funds are not available, or they're not proposed until 26. I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. If we did do something, closing it, before winter, I guess I'd like a time frame on that too, to work with DPW, to get some temporary signs and temporary asphalt. Just so everybody's aware of what that timeline is.
All right, I guess I would just ask that we start getting flyers out there and to the residents in that area, and maybe include in there that we're recommending turning on Madonna Drive, but I would also have the Maple Hills one in there just as, just to show the option that we have. So I guess I would direct staff to do that.
I guess the motion's out there and seconded. I mean, we don't need to put permanent cul-de-sacs and stuff in there. My main concern is somebody getting hurt, you know, and even our own street crews getting hurt, you know,
Yeah.
by going up and down that hill.
And
I mean-
maybe that's something we bring back later in the year, closer to winter, if we want to seriously consider that.
Well, and you know, as an avid motorcyclist too, or even a bicyclist, you know, it's just not safe. It's just not safe.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who would take their bike down there, but sure. Alder Martins?
Yeah, I've known people that have biked down there, but we're not going to go there. Can you repeat the motion? Is it to actually close
No,
28th now, or just to accept a plan for closure?
The motion was to accept the plan going forward of turning on Madonna Street.
Okay, I just
And-
wanted to make sure that we weren't shutting it down now, but we're moving forward on our intentions to close it.
Correct.
Okay, thank
So-
you.
So I guess I would like some further guidance on that. If we're sending out letters to the neighborhood, are we saying we're planning on that for 26, or we're planning on it for this fall temporarily and then permanently in 26? I guess would be when we want to formulate a letter that, you know, respects what you guys are asking. Or
Well, I'm sorry.
Alder Larson? Go ahead.
I guess I would just, you know, if it were I would just say that we're looking at temporarily closing this due to safety issues, and that this will be reopened and reconstructed in 2026. And I'll listen to what Alder Neal has to say.
Alder Neal?
Well, sure, I'm completely open to having, you know, temporary, you know, barriers, signs, whatever, for this, you know, winter season, along with, you know, showing this plan, you know, to the neighbors, to get their feedback on it and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, temporary means temporary. If we decide, you know, there's too much resistance, or we have to have a plan B or whatever, you know, then we can just pull the barriers and signage and stuff. But I mean, this really would be our recommendation for the best way to handle what we see as a public safety issue, and then to, you know, make it clear and, you know, put timelines on it, like, you know, yeah, it'll be closed effectively, you know, by this winter, you know, with some, you know, reconstruction plan for the following year,
Okay.
for 2026, rather.
Okay. Does that help, Alan?
yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, so I have a motion to move ahead with the street turning on Madonna Drive and getting flyers out and getting public input back from Alder Neal, seconded by Alder Larson. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? No one's opposed. That passes 4-0. We'll move on to agenda item number 10. Discussion and possible action on amending annexation ordinance number 497-93E. And this is Alan's.
Yes, I will defer to Tara on this one.
Agenda item number 10.
What are you deferring to me about?
Well, you put this item together for me, so. This is with the annexation, where the annexation was supposed to
I
be.
didn't put this together. Did Ann or Lisa put it together?
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, Tara. It came from Lisa, but it came from the attorney's office.
I mean, I read the item, and I see that you're trying to correct.
Right, I believe it's trying to
the
correct.
measurements.
Mhm. Correct
Right.
the measurements.
Right. What else would you?
So it looks like the east right-of-way of Poplar Lane is actually 24.75 feet and not 41.25, so this would correct that discrepancy in the annexation, basically.
That's what it read to me. I didn't see anything unusual. I mean, it said that the county won't correct the maps until this is done, so I'm sure that creates some problem having the
Right.
measurements inaccurate, so.
So we would actually be detaching part of what is now connected to the city. There is a map showing what that would be.
Okay.
Yeah, so when this annexation went in, I mean, just, it's a little bit of housekeeping, but Alan's right, there will be a detachment of some property. It was put in for whatever reason at 41.25 feet as recorded, but it's actually only 24.75 feet. So this will be making that correction to accurately describe that property.
Discussion, comments? Alder Martins?
Okay, so I guess since there's, some of the property is detached then from the city, then are we going to have to go in and re-annex that sliver? Or does it not matter, or?
I mean, usually annexations happen from the owners, right? So
Okay.
if that property owner wanted to annex that remaining piece of property that will now be detached, then they would apply to do that.
Okay, oh, so it'd be up to them to decide if they,
Correct.
if that 20-some feet wants, they want that back into the city, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other discussion, comments, motions?
I'll make a motion that we move forward with this item number 10 then.
All right, I have a motion to move ahead with amending annexation ordinance.
I'll second that.
Second, motion by Alder Larson, second by Alder Mertens. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? No one's opposed. That passes 4-0. We'll move on to agenda item number 11, discussion and possible action on amending annexation ordinance number 497-01L. Alan? Same thing, different area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any further discussion, thoughts, comments, motions? All right, I have a motion to approve by Alder Mertens, second by Alder Neal. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? No one is opposed. It passes 4-0. Move on to agenda item number 12, 2025 proposed DPW streets capital projects.
So these are the projects, last meeting, I had brought the facilities projects forward that are proposed for the 2025 capital projects, the CIP committee, and these are actually from our streets division that will be proposed through the CIP process in 2025, as the committee had requested before. So you also see our projects that are proposed for 26 through 29 on future years, but Dustin's here and to answer any questions specific if you have any on those.
Any comments, discussion, questions? I don't think we have to take any action on this. But
Nope.
I know we asked about this last term to get these in front of us. I think it's a good
Right.
idea just
Yep.
to review them, so we're all aware of what's coming. All right,
Right.
seeing nothing, we'll move on to agenda item number 13. Update on Wisconsin DOT standalone curb ramp improvement project number 6999-19-00/70.
This is just for update purposes. We did get confirmation from the DOT that they're going to be going through and updating every curb ramp that would be on Business 51 or State Highway 52. which is a large, obviously a large portion. If, 52 comes in on East Wausau, which they'll be constructing that portion of East Wausau, reconstructing it. But then as you come down First and Third Avenue, or excuse me, why am I getting my streets mixed up here? 5th and 6th Street. Yeah, you're gonna, that's 52, and then Bridge Street. So then 52 is now goes out Bridge Street. So they'd be replacing every curb ramp on Bridge Street, and also Business 51 continues on 1st and 3rd Avenue. So they'd be looking at every curb ramp on 1st and 3rd Avenue. Thomas Street recently constructed, so those should be all good. But then as you turn down Grand Avenue, they'll be looking at all those too. So this is a rather large project that the DOT's, and it's kind of the federal highway is making them look at all their curb ramps on connecting highways. I wouldn't anticipate this project would go for probably 5 to 6 years, and the city's responsibility is going to be zero. But this is a project the state's looking at, so I just wanted to make this committee aware that there's going to be a lot of curb ramps being upgraded in the city of Wausau in the near future.
That was my first question, was if it was the new 52 or. Correct. Okay. Yep. All right,
My
thank you.
question is,
Although-
are they going to fix the old 52? That's so bad out there by Lamb's Market going east, that road.
Yes, they will be redoing East Wausau Avenue in about 2028, 2029.
Oh my, that long yet, huh?
Yes, they're trying to advance it. They do have an engineer hired right now, and they're scoping it. They're starting preliminary design, so that's a positive. We did get a state municipal agreement on that, so I would say it's probably more like 28 or 29.
Okay,
And I guess
thank you.
Alderman
There's a
Martins?
question for Alan, too. So, yeah, because the East 52 is, we're not expecting that to happen until 2029. Are they going to go ahead then with these other ramps as time allows, or
So
is
the-
everything going to be bundled together?
Well, the East Wausau Avenue project, the reconstruction will be a standalone project.
Okay.
So, that won't be included in whatever curb ramps they're going to redo on Bridge or so those will be different projects.
But they'll do the 52 ramps when they...
Correct, when they reconstruct the street.
East Wausau Avenue.
Yep.
Yeah, so, okay.
All right, I don't see any action on this one either. Thanks for the update. And we'll move on to the last item, adjournment. I get a motion to adjourn.
Since I'm a 13 kind of guy, I'll make the motion, we adjourn.
All right, I got a motion to adjourn by Larson, second by Alder Neal. All those in favor say aye.
Aye?
Aye. Opposed? No one's opposed. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.